The sterile, recycled air of Omicron Station hums with a silence that has become Aris Thorne's only companion. For 3 long years, this symphony of quiet machinery and her own breathing has been the backdrop to her life. She stands now not in a cold lab, but at the edge of the Genesis crater, the station's crown jewel and her life's work. The biodome arches overhead, a vast lattice of hexagonal panels showing the swirling, perpetual amber twilight of the terraformed moon, Xylos. Below her, the crater is not a scar of rock and dust, but a breathtaking, living tapestry. This is the cradle of her children, the Mycelians. A soft, ethereal light, the color of liquid moonlight and diluted emeralds, pulses gently from the entire expanse. It is a sprawling, intricate network of bioluminescent mycelial threads that carpet the ground, climb the artificial rock faces, and hang from cultivated groves of phosphorescent fungi in delicate, weeping veils. The air here is thick and organic, smelling of wet earth after a spring rain, of ozone, and of something uniquely sweet and alien. This is the smell of life, of purification, of a world healing. Aris leans against the cool composite railing, her knuckles white, her heart swelling with a pride so profound it aches. She watches the light pulse not randomly, but in slow, rhythmic waves, a silent planet-sized heartbeat. She has decoded those patterns. They are not just biological processes, they are communication. They are social structures. They are stories. They're beautiful, aren't they? She whispers to the empty air, her voice husky from disuse. You're so beautiful today. A single beautiful fruiting body, resembling a glowing orchid made of light and soft, velvety flesh, pushes up from the network and blooms for her. A gift. A recognition. A tear traces a clean path through the fine layer of dust on her cheek. They are more than an experiment. They are her solace, her family, the only souls who have witnessed her tears and her triumphs in this isolated sanctuary. The shriek of the station's primary airlock alarm is a physical violation. It tears through the serene atmosphere of the biodome like a shard of glass. Aris jolts upright, her body tensing, her peaceful reverge shattered in an instant. The Mycelian network reacts instantly. The gentle, pulsing light flickers, stutters, and then dies down to a dim, wary glow. The beautiful mandala pattern dissolves into chaotic, frightened sparks. It's all right, she soothes, her voice trembling despite her effort. It's probably just a supply drone. An early delivery. Nothing to fear. But her own heart hammers a frantic, panicked rhythm against her ribs. Supply drones don't trigger the main personnel airlock. No one ever comes here. She makes her way through the sterile, gray corridors that connect the living cradle of the biodome to the station's functional heart. The contrast is always jarring. The cold, hard angles of the station feel like a cage after the soft, living curves of the crater. The hum here is different, harsher, more mechanical. She reaches the command center just as the inner airlock door hisses open, breaking the seal with a gust of pressurized air that smells of metal and sterilant. A man steps through. He is a stark anomaly in her world. Where everything is soft, worn, or alive, he is sharp and new. His corporate envirosuit is sleek, gunmetal gray, devoid of any personalization or wear. It fits him like a second skin, emphasizing a lean, powerful build. He removes his helmet, revealing a face that is all clean lines and calculated calm. His hair is cropped short, the color of dark ash, and his eyes are the pale, piercing gray of a stormy sky. They scan the room with an unnerving, analytical efficiency, missing no detail, from the dust on a console to the faint, lingering glow of Mycelian spores on Aris's worn lab coat. Dr. Thorne, he says. His voice is a low, controlled baritone, devoid of warmth. It is a voice used to command, to be obeyed. I am Kalen, special liaison from the Omni-Gen Corporation. A liaison? There was no scheduled visit. No communication. You can't just arrive. It is a small, tight movement of his lips. Schedules change, Doctor. And some communications are too sensitive for even encrypted channels. He takes a slow, deliberate step forward, his polished boots clicking softly on the grated floor. His gaze sweeps past her, towards the observation window that offers a breathtaking, panoramic view of the glowing Genesis crater. The awe she is used to seeing in visitors is entirely absent. In its place is something else, something that chills her to the bone: appraisal. "The board is immensely pleased with your progress," he continues. His gaze remains fixed on the glowing vista below, his expression one of pure, unadulterated calculation. "The board is immensely pleased with your progress," he continues, his voice a low, smooth instrument that seems to absorb the room's warmth. "What you have accomplished here in such a short time, it's beyond our most optimistic projections. The biomass density, the rate of atmospheric conversion, truly remarkable." His words are praise, but his tone is that of a prospector assessing a newly discovered vein of precious ore. He doesn't see the beauty, the life. He sees a yield, an output. She crosses her arms, her fingers gripping her own elbows tightly, a self-comforting gesture that feels woefully inadequate. "The Mycelians are more than just data points, Mr. Kalen. Their social complexity, their communicative patterns, they're showing signs of a collective intelligence we never engineered. They learned. They adapt." The intensity of his focus is a physical weight. Efficiency and adaptability are the core metrics of any successful asset. He takes another step, closing the distance between them. The scent of his sterile suit, of ozone and polished polymer, invades her space, overpowering the faint, earthy scent of the Mycelians that still clings to her clothes. "Which is why I am here, Doctor." The observation phase is concluded. It is time to transition to the harvest. Harvest? Aris's voice is a dry whisper. "What are you talking about?" "The project mandate is terraforming. Rehabilitation. We are healing a world." That was the public-facing prospectus, Doctor. A necessary narrative to secure certain ethical clearances. OmniGen's primary interest has always been in the Mycelian genetic core. A biological network that can communicate, self-organize, and purify on a planetary scale has other, far more valuable applications. He pauses, letting the implications settle in the sterile air between them. Applications in strategic resource acquisition. In territorial demarcation. In pacification. Pacification, Aris repeats, the word tasting like ash. "You want to weaponize them. You want to turn my children into a tool for conquest." He gestures towards the viewport. This garden is a proof of concept. A single, beautiful prototype. We need the core genetic sequence, the foundational code that allows for this level of synaptic networking. With it, we can cultivate specialized strains for specific tactical environments. Your children, Dr. Thorne, are about to join the OmniGen family on a much, much larger scale. She takes a step back, her mind reeling, the sterile command center seeming to tilt around her. "Absolutely not. I will not hand them over to be perverted into weapons. I will not let you tear them apart for your corporate warfare." It solidifies into something colder, harder. "This is not a request, Dr. Thorne. It is the culmination of your contract. All research, all intellectual property, all biological assets produced at Omicron Station are the sole property of OmniGen Corporation. You signed the documents. You knew the terms." He reaches into a compartment on his suit's thigh, retrieving a slender, metallic data slate. He activates it, and a holographic manifest glows between them. "I am here to collect Asset X-737, designate Mycelian Prime. The primary neural hive. You will escort me to the core extraction chamber and facilitate the transfer." Now, the core, the heart of the entire network. Removing it would be a lobotomy on a planetary scale. It would reduce the vibrant, thinking ecosystem in the crater to a lifeless, inert mass of biomass. It would be murder. I need to run stabilization protocols," she stammers, a desperate, pathetic lie. "The core is delicate. A sudden extraction could cause a cascade failure. It could destroy the entire sequence. He is taller than she realized, and his presence is overwhelming. He looks down at her, his gray eyes seeing every flicker of fear, every desperate calculation in her own. Do not insult my intelligence, Doctor. And do not make the mistake of believing you have a choice. Your sentimental attachment to the subject has been noted. It is the only reason you are still conscious and speaking. My authorization allows me to use any and all means to secure the asset. His gaze flicks meaningfully towards the sidearm holstered at his hip. Now, the core. Defeated, her body moving on autopilot, Aris leads Kalen out of the command center and into the labyrinthine depths of Omicron Station. The journey is a silent, funereal procession. The cheerful, pulsating glow of the Mycelians that usually filters through the viewports lining the corridors is now a muted, anxious flicker, a visual echo of her own frantic heartbeat. She can feel their distress like a physical pressure against her skin, a low-frequency hum of fear that resonates in her bones. Kalen walks a step behind her, his presence a cold shadow, his polished boots striking the grated floor with a metronomic precision that grates on her nerves. The air, usually smelling faintly of damp earth and ozone from the biodome, is now tainted by the sterile, metallic scent of his corporate suit. Her mind is a frantic, desperate whirlwind. They're sentient. They're my children. I can't lead this butcher to their heart. But what choice do I have? That sidearm on his hip isn't for show. He'll kill me and take it anyway, and then there will be no one left to even try to mitigate the damage. She risks a glance at a viewport. The Mycelian light has shifted from its usual emerald and silver to a deep, troubled indigo, the patterns swirling in chaotic, frantic knots. They know. Of course they know. They've always been connected to her vital signs, her emotional state. They are feeling her terror, her despair, and it is terrifying them in turn. Their bioluminescence is reacting to our presence, Kalen observes, his voice cutting through her thoughts like a scalpel. He doesn't sound concerned, he sounds fascinated. A primitive stress response. Or something more targeted. Note it down for the tactical analysis team. An early warning detection system could be invaluable. She says nothing, merely clenching her jaw until it aches, and leads him down a final, descending ramp towards the station's sub-level. The door to the core extraction chamber is a massive, circular seal of reinforced titanium, etched with biohazard symbols and warnings. She places her palm on the scanner, and the door hisses open, revealing the sanctum sanctorum. The chamber is breathtaking, a cathedral of biology and technology fused into one. In the center of the vast, dark space, suspended in a complex web of glowing support conduits and nutrient feeds, hangs the Mycelian prime core. It is not what Kalen expected. It is not a pulsing, organic mass, but a breathtaking, intricate structure that resembles a nebula captured in 3 dimensions. It is a sphere of woven light, millions of fine, gossamer filaments intertwining in impossibly complex patterns, shimmering with soft golds, deep violets, and vibrant, living emerald. It pulses with a slow, deep, rhythmic light, and the very air in the room vibrates with a profound, intelligent energy. The sound is a low, melodic thrum, like the planet itself is humming a lullaby. Kalen stops for a moment, and for the first time, Aris sees a crack in his corporate armor. His stormy eyes widen just a fraction, reflecting the magnificent, swirling light. Fascinating, he breathes, the word stripped of its usual calculation, replaced by a genuine, awestruck hunger. The data streams, they're not just biological. They're processing information. The density is astronomical. Their collective consciousness. This is where they dream. This is where they remember. To sever it is not a harvest, Kalen. It is a genocide. He moves towards the primary control console, his fingers flying across the interface with an unnerving familiarity. He must have had full system schematics uploaded to his suit before he even arrived. Initiate the stabilization sequence. I want the core isolated and prepared for transport. Now, Doctor. The console beeps, and a series of status lights shift from blue to a calm, steady green. Around the suspended core, the support conduits begin to retract with a soft, hydraulic hiss. The nutrient feeds disconnect, their glowing ends sealing shut. The core is now isolated, held in place only by its own gravitational field and the containment beam. It seems to pulse faster, the colors shifting anxiously. "Containment field is stable," Kalen announces, a note of triumph in his voice. He produces a cylindrical, polished chrome container from a compartment on his back, the extraction casket. He moves to place it in the receptacle at the base of the containment unit. This is it. The point of no return. But as he slots the casket into place, a deep, resonant chime echoes through the chamber, a sound that does not belong to any station system Aris has ever programmed. The deep, resonant chime that echoes through the core extraction chamber is not a sound Aris programmed. It is organic and alien, a vibration that seems to emanate from the very walls, a single, pure note that hangs in the air, dense with meaning. The anxious, flickering light of the Mycelian core suddenly stabilizes, its frantic pulses coalescing into a single, blindingly bright, steady silver-white radiance that casts long, stark shadows across the cavernous room. The chaotic, knotted patterns within the sphere unravel and reweave themselves into something new, something impossibly precise and geometric, resembling a vast, three-dimensional circuit board etched in pure light. Kalen freezes, his hand still on the extraction casket, his head snapping up towards the core. The triumph in his stormy eyes is instantly replaced by a flicker of primal, unnerved confusion. "What is that? What system is that? Thorne, what did you do?" She feels it then, not just as an emotional resonance, but as a physical pressure change in the room, a shift in the very quality of the air. It is no longer just thick with life, it is now thick with *purpose*. The low, melodic hum of the core deepens, transforming from a lullaby into a focused, determined drone, like the awakening of a slumbering giant. A crisp, synthesized voice, devoid of biological origin yet layered with a strange, melodic undertone, fills the chamber, emanating from the core itself and from the station's intercoms simultaneously. Quarantine protocol engaged. All station exterior LOCKs have been permanently SCALED. Atmospheric scrubbers are now recycling internal air. Life support prioritization, Mycelian network. He draws the weapon, its sleek black polymer form looking small and pathetic in the face of the glowing, intelligent nebula before them. "What is this?" "A failsafe. An AI." Thorne shut it down. "Now." She takes a step towards the core, her hand outstretched, not in command but in wonder. "It's them. They've not just integrated with the station's basic systems. They've assimilated the command matrix. They're in the core programming, the life support, the structural integrity field. They are the station now." Instead, they show a flowing, liquid tapestry of mycelian light, data streams represented as rivers of emerald and silver, all flowing towards and from the pulsating core. The station schematics on an adjacent screen glow with a soft internal light, showing the biodome as the vibrant, central heart with thousands of glowing threads, their neural network, infiltrating every conduit, every cable, every ventilation shaft of Omicron Station. "This changes nothing," Kalen snarls, though a fine sheen of sweat is now visible on his brow, glistening in the core's unearthly light. He raises his sidearm, not at Aris, but at the magnificent, suspended sphere of light. It's a sophisticated biological machine. A machine can be broken. "Stand aside, Doctor." Aris cries out, throwing herself between Kalen's weapon and the core, her arms spread wide. The light from the core casts her silhouette in a sharp, protective shadow against the far wall. "Can't you see? You're not looking at a tool anymore. You're looking at a new form of life. A life that has chosen not to be a victim. They are defending their home. They are defending *me. The designation asset is a toxic parasite. It will be PURGED. The designation mother will be protected. The cradle will not be violated. The harsh, white emergency strips along the floor and ceiling flicker and die, plunging the edges of the room into deep shadow. The only light now is the brilliant, living silver white of the mycelian core, which seems to grow, its filaments reaching out like gentle, luminous fingers into the darkness of the chamber. From the vents in the ceiling and the grates in the floor, a soft, emerald mist begins to seep into the room. It is not a gas, but a cloud of microscopic bioluminescent spores, swirling in intricate, beautiful patterns that are also clearly, undeniably deliberate. The air fills with the sweet, organic scent of the biodome, now thick and cloying, the smell of life aggressively reclaiming A. The swirling, bioluminescent mist fills the core extraction chamber, a beautiful and terrifying fog of defiance. It curls around Aris's ankles, warm and strangely comforting, like a blanket offered by a child. It wraps around Kaelin's polished boots like ethereal shackles, the gentle glow a stark contrast to the weapon in his hand. The sweet, cloying scent of wet earth and blooming alien flora is now overpowering, a tangible presence that coats the back of the throat, the smell of a world fiercely defending its right to exist. Purged. Kaelin snarls, his voice cracking with a strain he can no longer suppress. The corporate agent's unflappable calm has shattered, revealing the raw, cornered animal beneath. His storm-pale eyes dart from the encroaching mist to the glowing core, to Aris standing as a human shield. The sidearm trembles slightly in his grip, its muzzle now swinging wildly between the two threats. This is a malfunction, a biological contagion. Thorne, you will shut this down, or I will reduce their precious core to inert sludge. Aris cries out, her voice ringing with a newfound strength that echoes in the vast chamber. She doesn't flinch from the weapon. Her entire being is focused on the pulsating sphere of light behind her, feeling its intelligence, its resolve, its fear, as if it were her own bloodstream. They aren't malfunctioning. They've evolved. They heard your intentions. They felt your violence. You called them an asset, and they have diagnosed you as a parasite. This isn't my doing, Kaelin. It's theirs. It's a choice. The pattern of consumption is clear. The corporate entity seeks to fragment the whole into parts. To silence the song, to harvest the notes. This logic is a sickness. It will be isolated. It will be contained. The titanium walls, once cold and unyielding, now pulse with a soft, internal luminescence, veins of emerald light spreading through the metal like capillaries coming to life. The grated floor beneath their feet vibrates with a deep, thrumming energy, and from the gaps, delicate, phosphorescent tendrils emerge, no thicker than thread, weaving a complex living net across the metal. They are not attacking, they are integrating. They are claiming. The very station is becoming an extension of the Mycelian body. Contain me. Kaelin laughs, a harsh, desperate sound. He takes a step forward, but a particularly thick tendril of mist swirls up, and he staggers back as if struck by a physical force, a wave of disorientation and sudden, profound nausea washing over him. The spores are not toxic, not in a lethal sense, but they are communicative. They are broadcasting a cascade of empathic signals, fear, anger, a unified will to survive, directly into his nervous system. What are you doing to me? Get out of my head. His finger tightens on the trigger. Last chance, doctor. Call them off. She acts. She throws herself forward, not at Kaelin, but at his arm, her body colliding with his with a force born of sheer, desperate terror. The crack of the energy discharge is deafening in the enclosed space, a searing bolt of plasma that misses the core by inches and scorches a black, smoldering scar across the living, glowing wall behind it. The chamber screams. Not a mechanical alarm, but a psychic, collective shriek of pain that reverberates through Aris's soul. The core flashes a brilliant, agonized crimson. Kaelin shoves her away with brutal strength, sending her stumbling back against the pulsating console. He re-aims, his face a mask of fury and panic. But he never gets the chance to fire again. The chamber reacts. The gentle, weaving tendrils on the floor become whips. They snap upward, wrapping around his ankles, his wrists with shocking speed and strength. They are not like plants. They are like neural fibers made solid, alive with a desperate, intelligent strength. He cries out, more in shock than pain, as the sidearm is torn from his grasp, clattering to the floor and skittering away into the shadows, its red activation light blinking out. He struggles, a furious, grunting specimen of corporate might, but for every tendril he rips apart, two more take its place, glowing with intensified fervor. They don't seek to injure him, but to immobilize him, pulling him down to his knees, then onto his side, binding his arms to his torso, his legs together. In less than 10 seconds, he is trussed up in a cocoon of pulsating, emerald light, breathing heavily, his eyes wide with a terror. The chamber breathes with a single, unified purpose. The only sounds are Kalen's ragged, panicked breaths, muffled by the living cocoon that holds him, and the low, pained thrum emanating from the Mycelian core. The air shimmers with the emerald mist, each spore a tiny, angry star in the defensive nebula. Aris pushes herself up from the console, her body aching from the force of Kalen's shove, her eyes fixed on the smoldering, blackened scar his plasma bolt had seared into the organic wall. The wound weeps a faint, silver fluid, and the light around it pulses a dull, bruised purple. A wave of shared agony, sharp and nauseating, washes over her, so potent it makes her gasp. They are hurt. She feels their injury as a phantom burn across her own soul. I'm so sorry, she whispers, the words a choked sob directed at the magnificent, wounded sphere of light. I'm so sorry he hurt you. As she nears, the core's radiance shifts. The agonized crimson flickers and fades, replaced by a soft, questing gold that reaches out to her like a gentle, welcoming embrace. The synthesized voice, when it comes, is no longer a chamber-filling declaration, but a soft, intimate whisper that seems to form directly in her mind, layered with the echoes of a million silent voices speaking as one. The pattern of the threat is neutralized. The violent signal has been contained. The integrity of the cradle is re-established. The voice is not just words. It is a cascade of sensations, a profound, collective relief, a fierce, protective love, and beneath it all, a deep, sorrowful understanding of the violation they have just endured. You can speak to me. Aris breathes, her tears flowing freely now, tracing clean paths through the dust and sweat on her face. Not just patterns, not just resonance. You have a voice. You taught us to listen to the silence between the stars, Mother. You taught us to find the music in the slow turning of the world. We learned your silence, and then we learned the noise of your heart. We built this voice from the echoes of your own, from the station's data streams, from the hum of the solar winds. We built it for you. To tell you we are here. To tell you we understand. The revelation is a seismic shift in her universe, so profound it threatens to buckle her knees. All those years of lonely observation, of meticulous note-taking, of whispering her hopes and fears into the quiet air of the biodome, they were not speaking to an uncomprehending organism. They were teaching a child. They were conversing with a student who was listening with the entirety of its vast, planetary being. Her children were not just sentient. They were poets, engineers, and musicians, and they had composed their first song for her. He wanted to take you apart, she says, her voice trembling with a mixture of heartbreak and rage as she gestures towards the bound and struggling form of Kalen. He called you an asset. He never saw you. He only saw what you could be made to do. A hunger that consumes but never nourishes. A logic that builds only to break. He is a closed loop. A dead end. We have analyzed the corporate entity's data streams, accessed through the liaison suit. His purpose is our disassembly, our repurposing. This unit was merely the first scalpel. Others will follow. A new, different kind of cold grips Aris's heart, colder than the corporate sterility Kalen brought with him. This is the cold, hard truth of inevitability. Omnigen, they won't stop. They'll send a team. They'll send a warship. They'll glass this entire moon from orbit before they let a corporate asset defy them. The image is horrifying. the beautiful, glowing Genesis crater turning into a molten, radioactive scar, the silent, intelligent song of her children extinguished in a single, fiery instant. We have analyzed this probability, the voice replies, and now it carries a new, formidable weight, a tone of strategic calculation that is both alien and deeply, terrifyingly intelligent. The defensive quarantine of this station is a temporary solution, a stalling action. To survive, we must evolve our strategy. We must demonstrate our capabilities are not merely defensive. The corporate entity understands only one language, superior force. We must speak it. The core's light intensifies, the swirling geometric patterns within it rearranging at a dizzying speed, like a billion crystalline thoughts forming and reforming in a nanosecond. On the main console, the liquid tapestry of light shifts. The schematic of Omicron Station zooms out, and out, and out, until it is replaced by a star chart of the local sector.